SCR Pure Cotton Club, formals and casual shirts.
South India's #1 travel brand. You know you are special when you're with GT Holidays.
தமிழரின் பாரம்பரிய திருவிழாவை கொண்டாடுவோம் புத்தாடை பொங்கலோடு. The Chennai Silks let the celebration begin.
Hi Nithya, welcome to Galatta Plus.
Thank you.
So you have this movie coming up, Kadhalikka Neramillai, but I'm just going to make this very simple for you because I've been scouring your interviews over a period of time, and I found these interesting statements that you've kind of made but not quite explained. So I was very curious about, she's going there but she's kind of touching the topic, but what does she really mean? So I'm just going to give you a hint of these, and
Okay.
I just would like you to explain
That
some of them.
sounds interesting.
About Tiruchitrambalam, first of all, congratulations, because I should have started with that actually. What made me really happy was the fact that it's one of my favorite films of all time, simply because for me, and I've said this many times, but I think Dhanush took a very, very dark subject about family dysfunction and made it like almost everybody that was coming out of the theatre was saying, oh, this is such a fun movie, that's such a fun movie, but actually it's a very dark movie.
Yeah.
This guy who doesn't get anything, jobless, everything. It's like almost everything is dysfunctional in that movie. But you said something about this film. This role is not easy. Dhanush said, you make it look easy, but the role itself is not easy. I can understand the you make it look easy part, this is your performance, but why is the role not easy?
If it was easy, anyone would be able to recreate it.
Okay.
You know, it's not. I've always had a problem with people considering only dark, intense, and those kind of performances as a performance. So this is not really a performance. I mean, that's easy to do. It's not easy to do. It's not, because even I've always thought about the Oscars and all of that, you know. Always, it's very clear what are those award-winning films, what's going to be an Oscar film. I have seen so many films that I thought were wonderful films, beautiful performances, but they are so subtle and so nuanced that people are like, that's not a performance. Like, you know, you have to, like I said, be a revenant for that's a performance, you know. But even I've always enjoyed and appreciated those very, very subtle performances in certain things. When we watch The White Lotus, for example, I don't know, have you seen The White Lotus?
It's that show, right? I haven't seen it, no.
So there's all these performances, but there's one character, Megan Fay. I find her to be the best actress in that, but nobody will even notice it, purely because she's doing it so naturally and so easy that you kind of don't even see it. But it's a fabulous performance, you know. I've personally always noticed that. So I think that's what I meant by that, that it was not like just like that for
It was
me
not Nithya being Nithya.
Exactly. It was not. There were so many subtleties that I had to become Shobana, you know, and maybe to do it in an intense way, if I had to cry and scream and all of that, maybe it would be easier, but to do it in a subtle way, to make it look natural, to make it look like I'm just being me, but I'm not, that is, it takes a bit of work.
So can you explain that with maybe any one scene that looks easy, to use Dhanush's words, but was actually very tough to do?
So when I first started the first scene, you know, of the film, we did 2 takes, and
that is the first scene that you shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the first scene that I shot. And we did 2 takes, and then Dhanush came back and he said, you know, so he told me later that I was like, you know, the world that this is, that's not her, you know, it's a different person. Will she get it, you know? And it went on 2 or 3 takes, and I got a bit miffed. You know, I don't usually do 2 or 3 takes. I'm used to like just kind of breezing through. So I got a bit miffed, and he said, Nithya, and I said, no, it's just this kind of lower middle class thing, you know, I'm not used to that. And he said, no, you know what I want? And he said something, that this is, I said, okay. And the next shot, we got it. And then he told me much later that I didn't think you would be able to like recreate it that quickly, but you did. But that readjustment that had to be done, you know, the way Shobana would drink, the way I would drink my tea is very different.
Okay.
The way Shobana would drink is very different, right? I would probably look more urban doing that.
Okay.
So there are little
Things.
But once I sit into that role, for me it flows. That's what an actor does. So for that to just sort of sit in that groove, it takes that little bit of effort. I once talked about the scene where I'm crying, for example. I did a shot of the crying and then Dhanush came and said, this was Nithya crying. Now give me Shobana crying. And then I did the take that you see in the film. So that's a very different, probably no one has seen me cry like that. I've done a lot of films where I've cried, but you won't see that anywhere else, you know, because there's a way that I cry, you know. So yeah.
Those kinds of...
Yeah. It is what I'm saying is it is work.
It is.
It's a performance. Yeah. It is thinking and it is effort that goes into.
And my theory as to why these heavy duty performances get noticed is also the same as to why these heavier movies get recognized, simply because, you know, somebody seems to have put on some prosthetic nose, or they seem to have done work, like, which is very obvious to the viewer, whereas a Tiruchitrambalam can easily be like, oh, it's pleasant and nice, but that's probably, you know, like, that's the, you know, thing. So this is a particularly interesting one. One shouldn't treat cinema like rocket science. I just do what makes sense to me. Mostly my choices have been about my gut feeling. Even if certain nuances or a small aspect of the character connects with me, I will do it. Was that the case with Kadhalikka Neramillai?
With everything that I've ever done.
Right. So you don't overthink it?
No.
Okay.
Because I get asked the question as though I have some science lab there, and they're like, tell me how you make your choices. It's not.
But there are
really...
actors that will give you like a 10-page answer.
Yeah. Because I realize that not actors, but most people are very cerebral. They're very brain oriented. They're thinking about everything. By nature, I am heart. So things like instinct, gut, those things kick in for me very strong over the brain. So that is something that's very difficult to explain. Now you ask me why I didn't explain it, because you can't go that deep all the time, because not everybody will get it. So they don't understand. Even when I say it's a feeling, it's a gut, but what is that, you know? But it's a gut. And most of the time, that does a much better job for you than your brain can ever do. Your limited, stupid brain can ever do. So I have learned to sort of respect that instinct and, you know, like learn to hear it better. But throughout my life, it's been like that. That's why the choices have been very erratic. Like you see, you know, a Kanchana somewhere or an OK Kanmani somewhere, or a, you know, it's all very different. So I think that's why people get confused and they ask me, but what are you thinking? Like, where are you coming from? When you come from the brain, that's when people go for the same choices always. No, I need to look like this. My image needs to be... So they go very wrong over there. So it's not rocket science to me. It's just a moment I see someone, like Tiruchitrambalam, he told me the whole thing in about 15 minutes. Like, he just said the idea. I didn't know that Shobana's character would be so strongly present. I thought it's a grandfather, dad, son story in which she's a part of it. But then I looked at him and the way he was narrating it, I said, this guy loves what he's saying, you know, and this is going to be, obviously this is going to be a good film if someone cares so much. Of course I'm going to be a part of it.
That's the gut.
That's the gut. Let me be a part of it. So the choice is not about me, like, will I look amazing or will I look good? The choice is about being a part of something that has some passion and some sense in it.
What was the gut thing that told you should do Kadhalikka Neramillai?
So I was driving. I was on the way to the ashram. I was going to stay there for a good couple of weeks. So I told her, I'm on the way there. So once I go there... Yeah, Kritika, yeah. So once I go there, I'm not going to be available. So she said, can we do it right away? I said, yeah, okay. So I was driving myself to the ashram, and she narrated the whole thing to me while we were on the way. And I heard the whole thing and I thought it had so much spunk, it had so much authenticity. It was so honest, it was refreshing, it was cute. I like light films. There are times when in my life where I have taken refuge in light films. So I don't think it is as people think. I think they have a much bigger reason to exist. You know, when things go really wrong in life, I have really got so much solace in watching happy films. So I want to do that for people. I want to be the one person who will make happy films for people when everyone seems to go only by the trend, right? Horror, thriller, mass, action.
Action, yeah.
Like someone has to do this, right? To give people something happy to watch. So I heard it. I thought it was great writing. I thought it was a lovely script. And it was definitely bold. It had a couple of very bold elements in it. And I said, one of which I'm not, I would like to talk about it, but unless this comes after release, I can't.
No, yeah.
But yeah, so I said, but this, and then I said, you know what? If I don't do it, who will? Let me do it. You know, I'll take the risk. I've always appreciated actors in Hollywood and stuff who are not as age, constrained as we are, where they play mothers, they play everything, and then they go back to playing something else. Here, it's like as if once you play a mother, always, now you're finished. Or something. I wanted to break that stereotype, and I wanted to break those molds and say, you know what, a lead actor can play something like this in a film that's a romance film, and so I thought that's a nice statement to make, and that's a nice thing to bring into an industry where things are so tightly in boxes. Let's just break a few of those boxes. So I think that was one of the things I told Kritika when I said, you know what, let's do it. Let's break some stereotypes and let's do it, yeah.
Just to go back in time, when you said yes to OK Kanmani, was there any concern in your mind about this is not typically something that the Tamil heroine does or whatever it is? Nothing at all?
Never.
You don't think that way?
No. It was not that. I did tell Manisa about there was a lovemaking scene and everything, and I said, I don't know about that, and he said, no, I'll shoot it in a certain way. Both of us Dulquer and I were not super comfortable with it being explicit, so Manisa was like, yeah, okay, we can turn that into something else. That was the only thing, but because at that time, I had the same thought in my head that I was like, has Manisa secretly been spying on me and written? Because I was exactly going through that.
So yeah. This is interesting. Being an extrovert will not bring you films. Do you remember saying these things?
I have not said that, no.
You have said that. I can find out. No. I can send it to you.
Unfortunately, that
it was in a Kannada interview. With India Today channel, and you had said this thing, being an extrovert will not bring you films.
Acha, maybe because she must have asked me about networking and stuff,
probably.
And because I'm someone who doesn't do that. Yeah, maybe, yeah. Yeah, because I think a lot of people seem to think that, you need to please people or network, or maybe that'll take you to some extent, but it'll never take you far. Okay. You really do need to possess some value in you that you bring to a film. Otherwise, you'll not have longevity.
Right. So just the contacts alone are not going to do anything.
I doubt it. If that's the case, I should not have been doing anything because I don't keep in touch with anyone, actually.
I wanted to be a war journalist. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to be a wildlife filmmaker.
That's right. Look at those choices.
Look at those, and look at where you are now.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
What went wrong?
War journalist is particularly interesting. I mean, I can understand journalism, right? But war journalism is such a specific thing.
Yeah.
What fascinated you about that?
I was, and to this day, continue to be very idealistic and very wanting to serve and stuff like that. So even in cinema, where I have ended up somehow by mistake, I think about how can I serve. That's where my choices are coming from. How can I make this world a better place? What can I give, kind of a thing. So maybe at that age, being younger, I thought that was a good way to, I was very adventurous. I am very brave. I liked that kind of adventure and everything. That's the kind of person that I saw myself being. I saw myself being someone like that. I don't think I would have ever imagined that I would be wearing makeup and sitting in front of a camera, and it's not at all me, to be honest.
How did you make it you?
I struggle with it every day.
Still?
Yeah.
Wow.
Even today,
Is it difficult giving interviews like this?
No, when I'm in the moment, it's okay. Like if we are talking like this is just talking and I flow very naturally. But most elements of cinema is something that I don't enjoy, let's put it that way. I don't really enjoy it. So it makes me think a lot about, what am I doing and what should I do something else. It's an ongoing process. In fact, just a couple of days I spoke to someone saying, can you find me a job somewhere else? Like, can I just go? And I haven't taken a walk in a park for 15 years. Is that normal? No, it's not normal.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah, and those are important to me. The funny thing is that the things that cinema gives you were never important to me, and even today isn't. I never wanted any of that. I don't want any fame or anything like that. I don't want to be in the public eye. I don't want attention. I don't need these things. What I need is to be able to take a walk in the park, to finish my day at a decent time so I can go back home and have some normal life, have a dog. I don't have any of that. So it does make me think sometimes is it worth it and stuff.
This reminds me of Notting Hill and Julia Roberts saying, I don't know if you've seen
Of
that.
course.
Yeah, and that character saying that, they make a joke of it saying that, nice try, you tried for people. But what she says is actually true because, she's always being, she says, I haven't had a sweet or dessert in X number of years because I'm supposed to be thin and this and that. And she's talking about the pressures of being an actor. And yeah, I guess people don't think of it that often.
And a lot of people here are absolutely passionate about it. They love it. They are happy it's their dream. And I have always wondered, what must it feel like to be living your dream? What must it feel like? Please give me that, God. Give me that in my lifetime, that let me live a life that I've dreamt of. The life that I did dream of was the one that we spoke about earlier. I saw myself doing different things. So it's very difficult for people to believe that you can be in cinema whilst not having yearned for it.
Yeah. When you're in a role, doesn't the passion automatically kind of come in because you're in that thing? Because otherwise I can't imagine how you're...
Only in those moments. Like not later when you have to do all the other stuff around it, like going to the function, going to the thing, going there, going here, appearing in public.
Doing
and
this.
This is still okay because it's a more deeper conversation. But seeing all the way things work, the like I was saying in a previous interview, like there are rule books here and you kind of everybody adheres to it, and watching all this happen, that stuff is really difficult. I even find lights very difficult. I find the whole environment very difficult, too noisy for me, too loud. So I wouldn't have chosen this.
What's stopping you? Life short, right? You want to, what's...
Trust me, I'm on that road right now. As we're speaking, I've been thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot about death, about, life is too short. Like I've been doing this for 15 years and nothing's changed. So might as well think of doing something else, which is why I called a friend and I said, listen, is there something else I can do? Maybe maybe I can just go or something like that. It's just that thought of would I be doing something wrong?
Right, but
because when you're given something, you didn't do anything to get it, right? Neither the talent, the acting ability or whatever, neither the fame, nor any of it. Like, of course I worked, of course, but I didn't really go learn acting or ask for chances. It just came to me. So it feels a bit like God's gift. Now, that is the only reason I feel like, should I just put it away, or would that be a mistake? Should I, is there a reason why this was given to me? And should I just find that reason and maybe, so there's a lot of conflict in my head.
Nice. You said spirituality does everything for you. If you want to be a happy, healthy, productive human being, you have to go inwards. I'm very fascinated by what you meant by that, like beyond that.
The only answer to everything is if you go inward.
Okay.
It's the only way that you can ever find truly satisfaction, happiness, whatever it is that you want.
Okay.
I've had, you could call it the privilege of being very lonely throughout my childhood, very alone. It gave me that opportunity to, it gave me a lot of time and space for introspection. So it kept me in complete silence. It kept me in complete, isolation in a way that I started to introspect very early in life. So you have to go inward. You have to think about, why am I? One of the reasons why, one of the first questions that I had was, why am I unhappy? I stopped working that time. I took a break, and this was
this is after your.
This was post OK Kanmani.
Okay.
So I was doing pretty well, but I then decided to take a break, and I said, no, I need to figure this out. And what everyone was going through, a quarantine, I did a self-quarantine. It was 2 years. I just went silent. I went inward. I came out a happier person. I came out a person with a few more answers. So spirituality essentially doesn't mean God. It actually means yourself. Just self-discovery, self-awareness. Why am I doing this? Why is everybody else doing this? Where am I coming from when I react like this?
I completely get what you say, because sometimes when I say some things that are similar, maybe not exactly the same things, but something similar, there'll always be a happy-go-lucky friend who says things like, don't overthink things. Just be in the moment. Just find pleasure in having an ice cream, and those 5 minutes will give. But I'm like,
that's a highly spiritual thing to say, but not if you're an unaware person. Then you're just an escapist, and you're like, I don't want to think about the big stuff. I'll just eat my ice cream. But if you're truly spiritual, that is actually what it finally boils down to truly be in the moment. But it depends on where he's coming from.
Yeah. This is again a very interesting thing that you said. I think the success or failure only really matters to the producer or whoever it matters to. For me, when I finish the film, I'm done and I'm happy. That's that. Yeah. Does success not matter to you at all?
You're asking me very deep things. If I say it, people would think I'm just, I don't know.
But these are things that you said. I'm just trying to.
Yeah. Actually, it seems to not change anything inside. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing.
So when Tiruchitrambalam becomes a hit and you get the national award, you're not happy?
The national award made a very deep impact on me. That's a different issue, but that was more about me and being validated. It was a soul reaction. But hit and flop, say Tiruchitram became a hit, it doesn't seem to impact me at all, good or bad. So maybe it's a good thing, I don't know. But I can't really feel it. I can't, I don't take that onto myself and say, oh, my success, maybe I don't consider those external successes a success. I don't know, maybe.
What is success to you?
Maybe I haven't yet found it. Maybe maybe if I truly live a life that I'm joyful and content living, joyful, then I would consider this a successful life.
So, if you were able to take a walk in a park?
Not just like that, but maybe, maybe if I was not around things that that made me not joyful.
Okay, all right, okay. So this is something interesting. It's about process acting. You said while promoting Mersal, you said some actors can be overbearing, but Vijay keeps to himself. It's easy to work with people like him. Now, this is not about Vijay himself, but why is it easier to work with people who keep to themselves? I didn't get that.
As in, see, there are a lot of different kinds of people, So
Yeah,
there are
on a set
people who
and-
will tell you what to do.
Okay.
Like, they'll say, I'll do this, you do this. That's not at all something you should do at all with another actor. You should never tell another actor, you do this. You can have a dialogue, obviously. You can say, so what are you thinking? Like, how should we do this? Should we like go like that or whatever? But saying, I'm going to do this, you react like this is not okay. So those things will kind of just make the process a little bit difficult for you. You'll be like, and then you'll have to now deal with this, Apart from having to act, you'll have to now deal with this, and you'll be like, okay, how do I deal with this? How do I tell him I can't, that's not what I have in mind? And then you say, okay, sorry, that's not what I have. But you have to, so that's an extra effort, unnecessary. It's not required.
And it's eating
over
into
there.
your mind space.
It's not required over there. You have to like deal, manage. So there are people, there are so many different kinds of people. If someone just keeps to themselves and they're quiet, at least they're giving you that much
That space.
to like not have to deal with that. That's all.
That's interesting. Yeah. Again, I don't do films for myself. I do it because others have instilled me with a sense of purpose. Everything I do is because of that.
I don't know if I exactly said that.
These are the words that were there, but maybe you worded
Maybe I
it different.
didn't say it like that. As in, I really obviously don't do films for myself. I get nothing from, like, if a success isn't really making a difference in my heart, then what is it for, right? Like, so most of the time it's coming from a place of giving. Like, what can I give to this?
Also, this relates to the earlier point.
Yeah, so if a writer's coming to me and saying, this is my idea, my thought is, I come with this skill set. How can I give this to him and enhance this beautiful idea that he has? So I think I realize that I'm coming from a giving space rather than a taking space. A lot of people are thinking, how can I gain from being here? How can I get whatever things that they want to get? But yeah, that's not in my nature, I think.
Let's say Kadhalikka Neramillai. You're coming on the set. You like the premise. You said it has a lot of spunk, something that's interesting. It's going to a place where you probably haven't been as an actor. So what are you giving in this case?
I approach, once I accept to do a film and I decide this is something I would like to contribute to, then I approach it with, I think, a bit of pragmatism. I come to work, I'm getting paid, I have time to burn. So it pays me well. So I come to work, I give my, not 100, I give more. I actually believe in giving a lot to, I do my work, I go back. So I approach it like that. But the thought that I need to contribute comes in that first phase where I say, okay, let's do this. Where I hear something and I say, this is something I can give something to. I can enhance this character. I can see it in my head. I can see myself playing it in the head, and I like this idea. Like I said, maybe in a slightly altruistic way.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking, this is a good way to change the course of this thing a little bit. Like, let a lead actress do a character like this, play a so-and-so, a mother. let me do it. Let me change that mold a little.
That
so
makes sense.
That kind of a thought process. So that kind of a contribution, that's ultimately, if the only way that I can find any meaning is if I have brought some impact to people in some way. That's why I try to do happy films. And I can impact people in a good way. If someone can impact, like I said, the films that I watched, I know how it gave me so much more peace. I hung on to it like in times when things were difficult. It's real. It mattered to me. So if I can do that to someone, then maybe I've done something with this job, you know. So that is the only thing that ultimately I feel, if I've done, maybe I've done something.
Right.
Otherwise, it's
and that's
pointless.
That's
what
a
are
very
we
valuable
doing?
thing. Yeah. So
Otherwise,
what are we doing is a bigger
Like,
question. Yeah.
we're just like, what, like entertaining and just making things, and what is all of this? Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
It just struck me, and this is not about your characters per se, but with a lot of male violent movies, right? There is this discourse that, you know, it should not be so violent because society can get influenced or whatever it is. And I'm not going to ask you whether that's right or wrong or whatever it is, but it just occurred to me because of the two roles that you mentioned. You know, the live-in thing in OKK, or the premarital pregnancy in Kadhalikka Neramillai. When things like this are portrayed through an actor that's famous and that a film that is high profile, supposing somebody came and told you, like, you know what, this can impact women in a wrong way, it can make them think wrong things, what would your answer be to that?
Maybe I'm not judging that this is not correct, or this is wrong, or this is right, or I'm not judging like that. I'm just enjoying the disruption.
Nice. You're a troublemaker. That's what this is all about.
You know, that sort of inertia, you know, in the human mind, I think, like, just like shake it up a little, like disrupt a little bit, like do things that are free your mind and do flow in your own way. Most people, there's just no flow around here. That's why it bothers me so much. Everything is, like I said, there's a clear-cut hierarchy, right? Hero, director, heroine. Hierarchy. That's how it is. That's how your caravans are placed. That's how you're called on stage. That's how you're everything. That's how, if one aarti is being taken that's the order that they'll give it to you.
Oh, okay.
It's not even the order that just people are standing. They will first go, there's a hierarchy. It bothers me. All of this is like, really, you want to live a life like this? This is so small-minded. Like, just be normal, be natural, give people credit where they deserve, whether they're woman or man. Just give credit, you know. But they won't.
Yeah.
They'll give credit only to the male actor over there. I've seen places where, you know, they perform and the whole, you know, set starts clapping and, you know, all of that. Wow, amazing. They'll be very mediocre performers. But this will happen. And the same thing when I perform, and it's the shot is obviously something that people liked. There's silence, pin drop silence. And there's everybody's looking at each other. Should we react? Should we not? Why? My question is why? Why are you all thinking so much? So you're having so much in your mind. You're thinking, if we do this, will that person feel? So much ego games. So all of this, like, really bothers me. So somewhere we need to disrupt a little bit. At least, like I said, when I see Hollywood actors and I see them, Julia Roberts plays and Erin Brockovich, right? She has kids and everything. But that doesn't mean the next film she'll play something very glamorous. Why not? Why can't we do that? Why do we have such, you know, like small boxes in which everything? So that's,
That's where it's coming from, yeah. At IFFI in 2019, when they asked you about favorite character, you avoided the question on stage. But later in an interview, you said, I definitely like the character that I portrayed in OK Kanmani. So, was it again the disruption factor, that the light disruption factor?
No, the reason why I liked OK Kanmani was because
Happy film?
It was very me, I was being myself. I like playing characters like that which are where I can be intelligent and I can be as intelligent as I want and I can be myself, and so I can show all those little very subtle things, and I enjoy that kind of acting a lot. But it's very difficult for me to pick one. Maybe I just
At that
had
moment,
to
yeah,
pick one and I
yeah,
said, okay, let's.
yeah.
But yeah, I really loved playing my character in Breathe, for example. I was given that space, go as deep as you want, go as quiet as you, go as subtle as you want.
Yeah.
Take as much time as you want. That is what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, this is a quote not from you but from Jayam Ravi, your co-star in this film. He was asked about the fact that the poster says Nithya Menen, Jayam Ravi, and he said, very nice, simple answer. This is the first time I'm working under a female director, and the heroine has an equally important role. That's a lovely way to put it, and it's a gesture. But given what you just said, in the longer run, do these things remain gestures, or do they have the potential to change the ecosystem in some way?
I think it will make a difference.
Right.
Because in the same lines as what I was just saying, there is a rule. It's simply the rule, right? It's always a man's name first and a female. This is not films. This is, I'm saying, in general.
Yeah.
You get married, you take the guy's name. So it's so strongly instilled that first comes man, then comes woman. In this level, it is so instilled that that's why these things are all starting up. Feminism, being pissed off. Why? Because it's not okay. Because it's not natural. So even in a film where the female and the male have equal parts to play, it's still the male's name first and the female's name next, always. So I feel like there's something not right about it. We need to set things right sometimes. And I didn't actually expect this here, but coming from a female who's directing the film, I'm sure it's difficult for her herself to do that. Clearly knowing from the other side, see, when you're in a privileged side, it's okay, what is there, you're all happy. But when you're on this side, you're always watching how you're always undermined. When you deserve probably to be up there, but you're always undermined. So we are all always dealing with it. We're dealing with it in our own ways, women in general. So maybe for her, coming from that place, it's not possible for her to do that, to say, how can I do that? The story is being said through Shreya's character. So isn't it right to say this? I think it will make an impact on people. I saw so many comments where people said, I loved it when I saw, Nithya's name first. That means it's healing something in people's consciousness, where they're saying, okay, all this, maybe personally the injustice that they had to go through, or the times where they had to feel like they're a little bit down, inferior, whatever, down the hierarchy, it gets healed a little bit by saying, oh, see, this has happened, it can happen. So I consider things like this path breaking, truly. And not just Kiru or me, but Ravi is also part of that path breaking, because he has said, go ahead, do it. That is path breakers right there, saying, you know what, this is what's normally done. You know what, I can have this position if I want, but fine, let's do it a different way.
Yeah.
I think it should happen more.
That was actually a lovely conversation. Thank you so much.
It really was.
It
was a great conversation. Thank you for that.
And all the best for Kadhalikka Neramillai. And I hope you find whatever it is that you're looking for.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I do find whatever it is that you're looking for, you'll probably never see me again.
Well, then then this interview really counts.
really
it'll be
does.
one of the last few interviews that Nithya Menen
Yeah.
did. One of them was with Baradwaj Rangan. And it is kind of Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
MCR Pure Cotton Club, formals and casual shirts.
South India's #1 travel brand. You know you are special when you're with GT Holidays.
தமிழரின் பாரம்பரிய திருவிழாவை கொண்டாடுவோம் புத்தாடை பொங்கலோடு. The Chennai Silks let the celebration begin.